in that. Okay, so when you open the ETABS, okay, you get this white screen. Okay, you get this white screen, the blank screen. I just opened the ETABS and kept. So when you open the ETABS, you can see like this. Okay, so we are going to create a new model. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to File and press on New Model. I'll go to File and I pressed on New Model. Okay, your system has a good RAM and the graphics card, it will be little faster. If your system is very loaded, it will take little time. It will drag a little bit. Okay, this box will appear, the model initialization box. There are three options there. The first one is use saved user default settings. Okay, we are doing it for the first time, so we don't have any saved settings. Okay, so I will not go for the first one. And the second option is use setting from a model file. And again, this is like when you model so many files, and if the one more building comes, a new project comes which was similar to the previous one which you have already done, then you can take that as a model file and you can model it. But since we are doing it at the first time, I suggest you to go for the last one, use built-in settings with. Okay, this is easy, and the errors also will be less. So this is the option. Like right now we will select, since we are in the beginning stage. Okay, so use built-in settings with. Here there are four options here. Display units. Maybe when you are using for the first time, maybe it will be in different units like US customary or metric MKS. So you select metric SI unit because that is what we are going to use for our project. That is the what system we follow. Then there is the next option is steel section database. In this also, if you are opened it for the first time, then it may be some other will be selected. So we are selecting Indian. Steel design code. By now you will already know that the steel design code what we use is IS 800 2007, and concrete design code will select IS 456 2000. If in case if it is selected some other thing, you just make it correct and select these four. Okay, I'll click on OK. When you click on OK, a template box will appear. A template box will appear like this. On the left side, there are two apps. Okay, so there are on the left hand side, there are two options. You can see on the screen, uniform grid spacing and custom grid spacing. This is related to the whatever the values we input. This is related to the grid lines which we have already created in the AutoCAD, because after the plan is ready, we create the grid lines, right? So the center line, right? So that values if we enter here, so we get the model. Okay, the first option tells uniform grid spacing. Uniform grid spacing is when all the columns or all the grid lines are spaced at equal intervals. This is very rare case this happens, because usually not that all the columns or all the grid lines are spaced at equal intervals. They will be spaced at different intervals. So this is not usually that happens. Maybe 1% chances this will happen, or as usually it will be a different spacing. Okay, now I'll just open my AutoCAD file and show you how the grid lines are. Okay, you can see here these grid lines are not uniformly spaced, right? So from 1 to 2 it is 4500 mm or 4.5 meter. 2 to 3 it is 1.615 meter, and 3 to 4 it is 5.485 meter. Similarly, in the Y direction, the grid lines, this is Y direction. Okay, the global axis of AutoCAD, the same thing we follow in ETABS also. So this is 4.5 meter A to B, and the B to C 2.27. So these are not uniformly spaced. Okay, we can see the 3.5 meter is common here, like 3 times it is appearing, but other than that, it is not the same. Here also it is not the same. So what I'll do is I will not worry much about that. I'll not worry much about that right now, because this we can edit it later. That spacing we can edit it later. But I will input this, how many grid lines are there. Those data I will input clearly. Okay. So number of grid lines in X direction. So I'll just see, I'll go to my AutoCAD drawing. See, this is X direction. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4. What you can see, this is in X direction. Okay, the global axis, X direction. So all these vertical lines. Okay, so this is X direction. So in X direction, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 grid lines are there. So what I'll do is I'll go to the ETABS and I'll enter it as 4. It is already entered as 4. So I'll keep it as it is. Then number of grid lines in Y direction. Number of grid lines in Y direction. I'll go to the AutoCAD plan. So this is Y direction from A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What you see, this is the grid lines in Y direction. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up to G, A to G, 7 grid lines are there. So I'll go to grid lines in Y direction. I'll keep it as 7. Okay, then spacing of grids in X direction. Anyways, this is not equally spacing. I can keep it as 8. Okay, I can keep it as 8. Later I can change it, or else if you want to save the time later, you can keep what is this first one as 4500 as 4.5, or else 8 is also fine. Don't change it, because anyways we are going to edit it later. Okay, spacing of grids in Y direction. Spacing of grids is Y direction. Again, I tell this is not uniformly spaced, but the thing is like 3500 is appearing 3 times, so that later editing will be easy for me. So I will just input this data as, you can keep it as 8 also, because later you can edit it, or I'll just keep it as 3.5, so that when I edit it later, that will be little time saving for me. Okay, so this is automatically grid only is selected here out of all these structural objects. This is what most commonly we use is grid only option. If it is a flat slab, there is a different option, and you can go start with blank also, and you can create the grid lines. That is also you can do it. But I'll not teach all the commands in the ETABS. I will be teaching you whatever is required for the design, teaching you how to design. So what are the commands that is most important for us? I will be teaching that. I think you won't get confused also, because of the whichever important I'll teach, you can keep that in mind. If you want to try the other tools, you can try it in your free time. Okay, so this is how I entered this uniform grid spacing, and this is related to the elevation now on the right side, story dimensions. Okay, so number of stories. Okay, I want you to concentrate now. See, I have taken a building of ground plus 5 floor. Okay, so should not enter here G plus ground plus 5. Okay, that will be 6 floors. No, I want all of you to concentrate here right now, because see, what you do is, after the grid lines is ready, okay, see what we do is we take it from the base level, that is from plinth. There will be 1.5 meter footing will be there. Okay, around 1.5 meter footing will be there. So this is also we should consider it. So this in ETABS is considered as one more story, but the height may be 1.5, the remaining may be 3 meter. But in ETABS, this is also considered as one story. Okay, so what you do is, usually in the practice, this is better if you create a plan like this. Okay, so this is our ground floor, this is our first, second. So ground floor to first floor will keep a height of 3000 mm or 3 meter. So that is the normal height what we follow. Floor to floor distance is 3 meter or 10 feet, usually what we follow that. So second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, and a roof here. Okay, when there is a lift, there will be one more room I will be adding, that is lift machine room. Okay, so what are your doubts? I'll see it later. Okay, because this is going to be uploaded in the YouTube, so I'll just go with the teaching right now. Not listening? You can hear me right now? You can put it in chat
Yes,
box.
sir.
You can hear me now? Okay. Okay, so when there is a lift here, there will be one more room coming up, that is lift machine room. Okay, usually the height of lift machine room is not like your floor height of 3 meter. Architectural design, that 2.5 meter is enough for that. Okay, for the first function, 2.5 meter is enough for us. So the top floor, there is a lift machine room will be coming, since there is a lift in this building. So that is kept as 2.5 meter, and the floor to floor height. Okay, this floor to floor, right? Everything is 3 meter, and only thing what I told you is that you have to keep in mind is there is a footing there is 1.5 meter below the ground level or below the plinth. Okay, now if you count the number of stories, so this is also considered as the footing is also considered as one story here when you model. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there will be total 8 stories. Okay, so this is what you to keep in mind. If it is a G+5 building, the stories will be 8 stories. Okay, because there is two thing additional coming up. Ground plus 5, total 6 stories it will be. Ground plus 5, total 6 stories. But there is a lift room and the footing. So total, 6 plus 2, 8 stories will be. That will be the total number of stories. Typical story height, so 3 meter, that is the story height is 3 meter. Okay, so bottom story, since it is a footing for us here, there is a bottom story is a foundation for us. Okay, so this is not a 3 meter, this is 1.5 meter. This is not 3 meter, this is 1.5 meter. Okay, I'll repeat. When you open the ETABS, there is built-in settings will be there. You give as per the Indian standards. After that, this template box will appear here. This will be helpful in creating the grid lines. Okay, in creating the model. So count the number of grid lines in X direction, Y direction. Spacing, if you don't give also, it is fine. Whatever it was there, you can keep it because later we can edit it. Then when it comes to the right hand side, story data, if you give it initially a proper thing so that no need to edit later. So number of stories is 8, typical story height is 3, bottom story is, that is the footing, so this will be 1.5. Okay, so I'll not go into other options here because this is grid only is the quite friendly and the most used. So I'll click OK. Okay, that's what here the 3 windows will appear, or 2 windows will appear. One will be model explorer. It may take little time because that's what I told you, it depends on your system how fast it is. Okay, there will be 2 windows. So the right side is a 3D window. Okay, and this is a plan window. If you want, you can close it, the plan window, or the 3D window if you don't want it. Okay, right now I don't want, I'm comfortable in creating our model in plan window. So what I'll do is I'll close this 3D window. If you want also, you can add windows later. If you want it 3D, you can go here, there is a small drop down there, you can add new window, you can do that. Okay, so this plan view, in which floor it is, you can see that here, plan view story 8. So from story 8 you can see this plan. If you want to see it from ground floor or first floor, the plan, there is an option here, you can see its plan. You can go there and you can select whichever story if you want. Okay, okay, so it has come to story 2 now. Okay, since our grid lines, what you see in the AutoCAD, our grid lines, this plan is not matching with what we have created here, because our spacing is not correct. Okay, so I'll tell you one more thing. This you keep in mind. You can design in ETABS if you go by this order. These tools, what you call this as menu. Okay, if you follow this menu bar, you can design your building easily. Okay, the steps if you want to remember. Model explorer, time being I'll be closing it. So if you follow this menu bar, that is edit, define, draw, assign, analyze, display, if you want, design. So this, if you go in this order, you can finish your project. Okay, so those who find difficulty in remembering what step is the next. Okay, so first step till now it is clear, I guess. So next you can follow these commands in the menu bar so that we can finish our project easily and without any mistake. Okay, so there is a difference in the grid lines here, the spacing is not correct. So what I'll do is I'll go to edit, there is an option called edit stories and grid system. Edit stories and grid system. Okay, edit stories and grid system. So see, for me, story 1, story 2, story 3, story 4, and this will be little confusing when I carry on with the project. So what I'll do is I will change the names. I'll change the names so that it will be easy for me whenever it is required in the later stage. So base, I will take it as foundation, and this I will name it as plinth, and this as first, second, third, fourth, fifth, roof, and lift machine room. I'll write it as LMR. Okay, so all this floor height is given, but this I will take it as 2.5 meter. Okay, this I will take it as at the lift machine room. I told you this 3 meter is not required. We usually go for 2.5 meter is sufficient for that. So we'll take it as 2.5 meter. So I'll click on OK. Okay, so what I did was like, it was initially it was like base, story 1, story 2, story 3, story 4, story 5, up to story 8 it was. So it will be clear because as per my AutoCAD drawing, it will be in plain first floor, second floor, third floor. So it will be easy for me even after, in the later stages of analysis and design. So it will be easy for me to, get to know about which floor I am in. So I named it as foundation plinth. So what you have to do is, there is an option called, so what I did was is I went to edit, I selected edit story and grid data. So in that there is a first option called modify or show story data. Okay, so this I have selected and I changed the name. Now I want to change the spacing here. Okay, that is not clear here. So what I'll do is, there is one more option here below, modify or show grid system. Modify or show grid system. I'll click on that. I'll click on that. All the top, the grid system name is G1 or all those things, 0 degree, that LMR foundation, these things. The first part, let it be the same. Anyways, this doesn't make any difference to us right now. Okay, so we are worried about this ordinates, or we are worried about the spacing now. Okay, so there are two types you can enter your values of the spacing. Okay, you can enter it as an ordinate or you can enter it as a spacing. Okay, if you want to enter it as an ordinate, okay, so you should check in your this thing, this has considered as origin, so this will be my 0,0. Okay, so this will be 4.5. Then this will be, when I come to C grade, it is 4.5 plus 2.27. This is in y-axis. Okay, x-axis it will be 4.5, 4.5. So next, if you want to enter, it will be 1.615. I'll just show you how, if you are entering through, if this display grid as ordinates is selected. So this is in X grid system. So first I will take it as 0. So that is 0. This is the origin. Next I'll go to the B. So B is, just check in your, this one. X system is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, don't get confused. So B is at the second grid is at a distance of 4.5 meter. So what I'll do is I'll go and enter 4.5 meter. Okay. Next C. Okay. So C, it is 1.615. But since you are entering the values as ordinates, you have to add the previous value also. You have to add the previous value. So if you go to this, so what you can do is 4.5 plus 4.5 plus how much it was, 1.615. Enter carefully so that there won't be any mistakes. You can take a lot of time for this. 1.615. Come enter. So this is one good option in ETABS, that where you can add directly. You no need to use calculator on the other side. You can just put the add symbol and you can add it. It will automatically add. So the D will be, so this we know 6115 something it has come, plus 5.485. So 5.485. So this will be 6.115 plus 5.485. Okay, enter. You get the ordinates. Okay, this is one way of doing it. Or else one more way, since this AutoCAD drawing is in spacing. Okay, from one grid to the other grid, it is in spacing mode. So what you can do is you can select, there is one more option here in the under rectangles, display grid data as spacing. Display grid data as spacing. You can select this option. You can select this option here. Directly you can enter the spacing. Okay, so A to B, it is 4500, so it is 4.5, correct. The second one, B, it is 1.615, because I changed from ordinates to this thing, so this has already come for 1.615. So, and no, C to D, it is 5.485, 5.485. Okay, I'll enter the Y grid data now. I'll go to this thing. Y grid data is from top, from bottom to top. It is in Y axis. So the first one is 4.5. I'll go to this. So I'll change it to 4.5. This is in spacing now. Okay, no need to add or the previous value. You can just add the values. Now second one is 2.27. I'm putting in meter, so it is 2.27, whereas in AutoCAD it is in mm. And the third one is 2.73. So 2.73 is the third one. And the fourth one after 2.73, it is 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. So all three are 3.5. So it is 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. Okay. So this is how the spacing I have entered, which is as per my plan. So I'll click on OK. So I'll click on OK. Okay. Now I got the plan. You can see the grid lines here, similar to my AutoCAD drawing, similar to my AutoCAD plan, what I have. Okay. So the option what I used is through the menu bar in that edit and edit and edit stories and grid system.